Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name is Sally Indah Putri. I am from STKIP PGRI Sumatera Barat. Well, in this occasion, I will explain about my research and title is Students' Motivation in Learning English by Using E-Learning. First, introduction. In Indonesia, there are still many teaching and learning activities that prioritize face-to-face meeting in class. However, with the COVID-19 pandemic widespread in Indonesia, all activities must be carried out from home. Online learning is focused on increasing students' understanding of the coronavirus and the COVID-19 pandemic. The learning activities and tasks can vary between students according to their interests and condition, including in terms of gap in access or learning facilities at home. And e-learning is the best choice for education in the midst of the COVID-19 outbreak. Through e-learning, the material provided to students can be accessed anytime and from anywhere, in addition to getting material that can be enriched or equipped with a variety of supporting learning resources, including multimedia that can be supported by teachers. However, in Indonesia, not all students are familiar with the e-learning systems, so this has become a new thing that requires adaptations. Students' view of these learning systems will also vary. Therefore, this study tries to investigate how students' motivation in learning English by using e-learning are applied in their educations. In other words, the researchers want to know that in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, students were still learning well or not through the e-learning system. And the researchers observed that most students have low motivation and low ability in learning English. They think foreign language, especially English, is complicated because of so many rules on it. That's why the researcher is interested in exploring students' motivation after experiencing the learning process through e-learning. The main problem in this study is formulated as follows: how is students' motivation in learning English by using e-learning at grade 7 SMP 2 Jujuhan? And general purpose of this research is to find out students' motivation in learning English by using e-learning at grade 7 SMP 2 Jujuhan. Okay, next, review of literature. First, motivations. Definition of motivation. According to Prihartanta, motivation is a psychological phenomenon in the form of impulse that arises in a person consciously to take action with a specific purpose. And Saptono state that motivation will make students more self-active in learning and obtain high learning outcomes, while students who do not have learning will give low learning outcomes. In activities that facilitate students, learning becomes one of the rules in it to create motivation. And the teacher understands how important motivation is for learning and does many things to increase students' motivation. From the explanation, it can be concluded that students' motivation is an internal energy that makes students become excited in learning to achieve goals. Types of motivations. There are two types of motivation. First, intrinsic motivation, and the second, extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is motives that become active or functioning do not need to be stimulated from the outside, because in every individual there is already an urge to do something. And extrinsic motivation is active and functioning motives due to external stimuli. It can also be said as a form of motivation in which learning activities begin and continue based on outside encouragement that is not absolutely related to learning activities. Second, language learning English. According to Chang, learning as a process that results in long-lasting behavioral change, which from practice or other form of experience naturally produce a variety of behaviors in certain ways and in certain capacities. Furthermore, Chang also sees that students' learning begins with the knowledge and skill brought to the situation which are developed and refined as one of the learning function. And from the explanation above, the learning will provide experience through the knowledge and skill received during the learning process. And learning English is the key to success because of its importance in various aspects of life. Okay, and the last, e-learning. E-learning is an abbreviation of electronic learning, which is one of the new ways in the teaching and learning process and use electronic media, specifically the internet, as a learning system. Through e-learning, material provided to students can be accessed anytime and from anywhere. There are four characteristics of e-learning. First, the attractiveness of students to learning material does not depend on the instructor or learner, because students construct their own knowledge through teaching materials delivered through the website interface. Second, sources of knowledge are everywhere and can be easily accessed at any time by everyone. And third, learners or educational institutions function as mediators or mentors. And the last, obtained from a restructuring of education system policy, curriculum, and management that can support the application of information and communication technology for education optimally. And there are three benefits of e-learning. First, cost efficiency. Second, flexible. And the third, learn to be independent. Okay, next, research methodology. First, populations. The population in this research was class 7 students of SMP 2 Jujuhan because in this school there are 2 English teachers and the researchers only takes English class that are taught by Miss S. Names are disguised to maintain teacher confidence with a total of 134 students consisting of class 7A, 7B, 7C, and 7D with 87 female students and 47 male students. Sample in this research, the researchers choose simple random sampling because the basic principle of sampling can be completed where the 28 samples in each item in the population have the same opportunities and possibilities to be selected in the samples. This process and technique are known as simple random sampling and should not be confused with systematic random sampling. The sampling process is carried out in several stages. First, the researchers distribute questionnaire based on class time for each class during e-learning. Second, the researchers give 24 hours for respondents to fill out the questionnaire. After more than 24 hours of receipt of response on Google Form will be closed by the researcher. Here, the researchers does not limit the number of respondents, so that the total number of respondents is chosen based on incoming response, and after receiving close response, there were 64 students or 64 students, the total of population who fill out the questionnaire within that time frame and were used as samples in this study. And in conducting this research, the researchers conducted interviews and collected open-ended response to questions in online questionnaire using Google Form. And in this research, interview questions were taken from the questionnaire with additional questions to support the data obtained. And the research questionnaire consists of 5 closed questions that focus on students' motivation of English e-learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. But to make it easier for students to fill in, the questionnaire was prepared using Indonesian so that it would later need to be translated again by the researcher. And last, this research data was analyzed using several steps. First, the researchers ranked respondents' data based on when the questionnaire was collected. Second, the data that has been received is then entered into the research table. Third, in the research table, the researchers calculate the percentage of respondents who are divided into 4 parts, namely strongly agree, agree, disagree, and strongly disagree. The use of scale classification in this study is to measure the agreement and disagreement of respondents to the object in the questionnaire. The statements contained in the questionnaire contain content that will be assessed by respondents. So, in this research, the result of the data are ordinal data, and the number used are just sequence to make it easier for the researchers, so the analysis is only in the form of frequency or proportion. From the result of this percentage will be found the result of a questionnaire regarding the motivation of students. Okay, I think that's enough. I apologize for my mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.